We go to San Diego, California for the arraignment of Titus Colbert. He's charged with 3 counts of premeditated attempted murder against a peace officer and possession of a firearm by a felon. The 33-year-old alleged gang member had broken into the apartment building of his ex-girlfriend when she called police. When officers arrived, Colbert, armed with multiple weapons, began firing. The standoff lasted 5 hours, forcing authorities to close down the roads and temporarily suspend air traffic at a nearby airport. Fortunately, no one was injured and Colbert was taken into custody. Colbert's looking at a possible sentence of 105 years in prison. But at his arraignment, he appears uninterested in his rights or anything to do with the case.
I will not be subject to criminal abuse.
You have a right to an attorney.
I will not be subject to criminal abuse.
After flashing what appears to be a gang sign, Colbert continues to interrupt the proceedings when he segues into a cryptic history lesson.
May 1st, 1776. May 1st, 1776. May 1st, 1776.
The date Colbert keeps repeating refers to the origins of the Illuminati, a secret society often associated with conspiracy theories.
May 1st, 1776. I stand for New World Order.
The defendant is removed and ordered to return the following week. His attorney pleads not guilty, but as Colbert stands before the judge, he continues his bizarre behavior.
We are the Illuminati!
The judge doesn't seem to appreciate the song and has a different tune for the defendant.
Mr. Colbert, you get one shot at listening to me to keep your mouth shut or you're out of here. Do you understand?
After a slight pause, Colbert answers.
We are the Illuminati!
By now, the judge has heard enough, and Colbert's removed from the court. He's forced to undergo a number of psychiatric evaluations.
I can travel in and out of time zones, and I am a special human being, and I'm protected.
And is finally ruled competent to stand trial. But nearly 2.5 years after the incident, Colbert changes his plea from not guilty to guilty. In exchange for the guilty plea, prosecutors dismissed 4 counts of attempted murder of a peace officer and various firearms crimes. He's sentenced to 20 years in a state prison. We're in Waukesha, Wisconsin for the case against 39-year-old Darrell Brooks. Brooks has been charged with 6 counts of intentional homicide, 61 counts of recklessly endangering safety with a dangerous weapon, and a number of other charges. A year earlier, police say Brooks met up with his ex-girlfriend and they had an argument. Brooks then drove his mother's car into a crowd of people during the Waukesha Christmas parade. 6 people between the ages of 8 and 81 were killed, and over 60 were injured. Brooks fled the scene on foot, but showed up a short time later on the front steps of a stranger's home less than a mile away. A doorbell camera captured Brooks pleading to use the owner's telephone.
Hey, I'm calling an Uber, and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please?
Police who'd been patrolling the area spotted Brooks, who fit the description of the suspect, and he was taken into custody. When police interviewed Brooks, he claimed not to know why he was there.
Tell me what happened. With what? With the car. What am I being in? With your mom's car.
Brooks was charged with 75 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. He considered a number of pleas, including not guilty by reason of mental defect, before ultimately deciding to plead not guilty. Today, at a pretrial hearing, Brooks falls asleep during testimony which gets the attention of the prosecutor.
I observed that for about the past 40 minutes, Mr. Brooks appears to be asleep in the courtroom. I don't know if he's just being disrespectful, uninterested, or if he's not feeling well.
After a brief recess, Brooks becomes irate when Judge Jennifer Doro reminds him that the proceedings are being recorded.
You got something to say too?
Mr. Brooks, the live stream is on.
I don't care about no live stream. Just like y'all don't care. All this political.
Mr. Brooks,
You
look
sit
at...
here and act like you know me. People like you don't, y'all
Mr.
think you don't know
Brooks.
nothing about where I come from.
Mr.
You
Brooks.
push me, dog. Don't push back then.
Mr. Brooks.
Don't push back. Push me again.
Mr. Brooks, we have to continue with this hearing.
Don't put your hand on me, dude.
Nobody put their hands on you.
They better not put their hand on me. Don't touch me, dog. Stay seated.
5 weeks later, when the case went to trial, Brooks decided to act as his own lawyer,
I just want this to be fair, and it hasn't been fair.
all while continuing his bad behavior.
And it's disrespectful to me that you think I would come in here purposely and treat this like a joke or a game. Your life is not on the line. Mine is.
The judge moved him out of the main courtroom and into an adjacent one to argue his case remotely.
We are back on the record.
But the antics continued as Brooks removed his clothes and turned his back to the camera. And later built himself a miniature fort using cardboard boxes. The trial lasted 3 weeks, and when both sides came to rest, it took the jury less than 3 hours to return with a verdict. Guilty on all 76 charges, including 6 counts of intentional homicide. Before Brooks is sentenced, several family members deliver impact statements to the court.
It offends me that you're sitting here breathing while she is not. You are a monster. You deserve contempt and death. As for me, this will never be over until the day I'm pissing on your grave. I think it would be fair to say that for your crimes, even God hates you.
Mr. Brooks, I hope as I read my statement, you continue to roll your eyes. I think it's important for the world to see what human rot looks like. Yeah, shake your head. There's nothing this court can do that would provide justice in my eyes. So all I ask is that you rot, and you rot slow.
Judge Doro sentenced Brooks to life in prison with no chance for parole. Next, we head to Ocala, Florida for a bond hearing. Judge James McCune presiding. 47-year-old James Gross has been charged with trespass after warning, a misdemeanor. A day earlier, Gross was allegedly trespassing outside a gas station when police were called. He'd already been warned about trespassing at this location, so he was arrested. Gross has a lengthy criminal record and is currently out on bond for DUI.
James Gross?
Today, he makes his first appearance before Judge McCune, dressed in what appears to be a black robe.
All right, good morning, sir. Your name, please?
James Gross.
Oh, no, you've been on bond since 28th of May. Plus, you've got some prior convictions. I'll set no bond on this. That'll keep you in custody for your next court date. Now, would you like to be considered for the pet offender, sir?
No, sir.
What about your DUI case? Do you have a pet offender in that case?
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay, do you think you should get an attorney for this case then, too, the trespass case?
Yeah, I'll be the same man, I'm sure.
Would you like to be considered for the public defender, sir?
No, thank you.
Okay. Do you want to represent yourself today on the trespass case?
Don't want to do what?
Represent yourself?
Sure.
It seems the judge is starting to get frustrated.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, I'd like to tell you the story. I mean, it's not going to be one you like. It's essentially no contest, but I mean...
Okay, just stop. Stop. You want to represent yourself, yes or no?
Sure.
Is that a yes or no?
I do, but I think it'd be probably smarter to get the lawyer.
The judge moves on to the next topic.
Do you have a job?
No, I'm self-employed. We got money.
Well, how much money do you have?
You wanna know how much cash I have?
Yes.
I have about $60,000.
Okay. Where's that cash right now?
It's in my sister's bank account.
Okay. Do you own any property?
Yes, I own a home.
All right. I don't know what sense to make out of this. You've got $60,000 sitting in your sister's account. Why is it in your sister's account?
Well, it's kind of a long story. I believe I'm on a mission, and I believe I'm gonna be your next prophet.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and enter a provisional order, appoint the public defender to represent you. I will not get any plea on your behalf as to this charge. Thank you.
Gross is taken into custody and eventually enters a plea of not guilty. He was later released on his own recognizance, and his trial is pending. Next, we're in Topeka, Kansas for a Supreme Court disciplinary hearing for attorney Dennis Harver. The defense lawyers at the High Court a year after a state review panel called for his disbarment, citing, among other things, professional incompetence in his handling of a capital murder case. Laying out the details of the panel's findings is the deputy disciplinary administrator for the courts. He claims Harver had no business taking on a capital murder case to begin with.
Respondent only experience in a murder case was some 20 years prior to that. That was not a capital case. He really had no idea of the law of capital murder, the capital murder trial proceedings.
And what is your recommendation for what we should do today?
My recommendation is that you approve the discipline of disbarment.
With serious allegations leveled against him, and with his law license on the line, it is imperative for Harver to present a professional rebuttal to the Supreme Court.
I appear before you today dressed as Thomas Jefferson, who's my hero among the founders.
That's right, donning a powdered wig, an 18th century suit, and white stockings, Dennis Harver will now argue his professional competency in the state's top court.
I wore this outfit because today the United States Constitution protects my rights to try the case as my client and I agree.
The case in question was the capital murder trial of Philip Cheatham. The 30-year-old was charged with shooting 2 women to death and attempting to kill another during a home invasion. Cheatham had a long criminal history, including a previous manslaughter conviction for shooting and killing a man during a drug deal. Most defense attorneys would not want to introduce that history at trial, but clearly Harver is not most lawyers.
My client was a criminal for a living.
While possibly an unorthodox defense strategy, Harver claims it was not incompetent.
Don't forget, Philip Cheatham didn't complain about my performance or conduct. You did.
The jury ultimately found Philip Cheatham guilty of the murders and sentenced him to death. Following the hearing, the Kansas Supreme Court upheld the state panel's findings and disbarred Kenneth Harver for what they called, quote, inexplicable incompetence. As for Philip Cheatham, the defendant in the capital murder case, he was granted a new trial due to ineffective assistance of counsel. He ultimately pleaded no contest to the murders in exchange for having the death penalty dropped. He was resentenced to life in prison with eligibility for parole after 25 years for the capital murder charge and received a consecutive 13-year, 9-month sentence for attempted murder.
7 William Dennis.
For our next story, we head to Kauai County, Hawaii. The defendant is William Dennis, who's in court without a lawyer to face the charge of driving with a suspended license.
Good morning.
All eyes are on Dennis as he approaches. Clad in a blue robe and a headpiece, he immediately addresses the court.
Well, my knowledge of the facts is with this claim of this standing with this microphone.
Sir?
Of the documentation with the continuation of the evidence by this peaceful volition.
Dennis has been rambling for more than 10 seconds now, but the judge allows him to continue.
Sir, unless you stand there, you're not being recorded anyway.
For the claimant's knowledge of the fact is with avoidance of the boxes and planes with this closed area court room by the unity consciousness.
Dennis obviously has a thing for hyphens. So the judge attempts to get things back on track with a simple question.
Okay, what's your name?
For my knowledge of my peaceful volition is with avoidance of the perjury, with this participation of correct sentence structure communication passe syntax grammar.
If you're counting at home, that is 7 hyphens in just that answer alone. Thankfully, the judge steps in.
Okay, well, we have a lot of folks waiting here, and I would hope that you would be courteous to the other human beings that are in the courtroom today, waiting their turn to be heard. What do other human beings call you?
For my knowledge of the facts.
Perhaps hoping to avoid an extended answer, the prosecutor chimes in.
Your Honor, he is known to the state already as...
William M. Dennis.
Yes, as Mr. Dennis.
The court will find that I know him from prior occasions.
This is going to be dismissed with prejudice. However, in order for his driver's license to be reinstated, there are reinstatement requirements that he must fulfill at licensing.
Okay, Mr. Dennis. First of all, I'll grant the motion. It will be dismissed with prejudice.
Okay, thank you.
Dismissed with prejudice means the case is permanently over. Done. Finished.
Mr. Dennis, I believe the state is being very patient and tolerant with you. You're free to go.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis.
It seems everyone wants this case over. That is, except for the defendant.
For my knowledge of my peaceful volition is with this calling of the cooperation with the human beings of this court room.
You're being disrespectful.
With the creation of...
Dennis can't quite see the gift he's been given and throws out a few more hyphens.
Mind body healing and organic food growing.
Sir,
with the free of the cost.
Please have a seat at the front.
It takes some assistance from the bailiff for Dennis to get the message. But on his way back to the gallery, he gets a few more hyphens in just for good measure.
Male livery by the correct sentence structure communication passe syntax grammar.
Sir, please have a seat in the front row.
Spencer Boston, come on down, Mr. Boston.
This is the arraignment of 20-year-old Spencer Allen Boston. At a traffic stop 2 months earlier, Boston received citations for speeding and simple possession of marijuana. As he walks up to the podium, Judge Haywood Barry's informed that Boston has a special request.
I spoke with Mr. Boston. He said he wants to represent himself in this case. I told him today was just an arraignment. It's either guilty, not guilty type day. To which he responded, I just want to plead my case to the court. So he didn't want to talk to me after that, so that's why he was...
Start talking, son.
Yes, sir. I think it's very unfair, the marijuana law here. I think we the people deserve better because marijuana is a very harmless drug, and it's been around for ages, since the 80s and 90s.
I've heard that baloney all my life, so don't go any further on that.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether it's good or bad. All I know is Tennessee still has it against the law. I swore to uphold the laws, and I have to uphold the laws as a judge. It probably is unfair, but I can't change it. You've got to go see the legislature to get that change.
Yes, sir.
And if you get it changed...
Judge Barry quickly returns to the matter at hand.
Now, if you want to plead guilty, you can today. But if you want a trial, we can give you a trial on the officer's date, which it's Officer Vincent.
Officer Vincent?
You want to fix trial date?
Yeah, we can do that.
That'd be fun, then you make another speech.
As the judge works with court employees to schedule a trial date,
May 7th.
Boston decides to take action. as he pulls out what appears to be a joint. No one seems to notice until, shockingly, he lights up. And this time it's noticed immediately.
Hey, we the people deserve better.
Boston may have finally pleaded his case.
Hey, we the people deserve better.
But he's immediately taken away by the court officer. And Judge Barry gets the final word.
Take me to jail.
Slapping Boston with a disorderly conduct charge, as well as another charge of possession. The judge also holds him in contempt of court, and Boston is forced to spend 10 days in jail. The joint was collected as evidence. Next, we're in Miami, Florida for a bond hearing. And wait till you get a load of this defendant. This is 29-year-old Lawrence Sullivan, AKA the Miami Joker, a Florida native and a self-proclaimed tattoo model.
All right, good morning, Mr. Sullivan.
Sullivan's appearance doesn't draw so much as a second look from Judge Maria Espinoza Dennis. But remember, this is South Florida, and this is no laughing matter. Still, he may be thinking, Judge, why so serious? Well, here's the answer.
Okay, you're charged with carrying concealed firearm, which, if convicted, has some serious consequences.
Sullivan's accused of pointing a handgun at passing traffic and was later arrested carrying a concealed .38 caliber pistol. Now in custody, he's declining service from the public defender.
You don't want the public defender's office to represent you?
I mean, they can represent me, but I'm trying to get bonded out, my honor.
Well, they're there to help you, sir. You don't have a lawyer.
All right.
I mean, okay, so...
I didn't even feel like signing the paperwork. I'm really not in the mood for that.
Sullivan's asking for a pretrial release, but Judge Espinoza Dennis, who could be considered the Dark Knight in her black robe, isn't going to let him out so easily.
On a firearms charge, I'm not going to do pretrial. Setting standard bond, $5,000. Next case.
Lawrence Sullivan was later found guilty of carrying a concealed firearm and sentenced to 2 years probation, maybe proving the old adage that crime doesn't pay.
Keisha Johnson.
Now to Louisville, Kentucky, and the Jefferson County District Court. An arraignment hearing is underway for 18-year-old Keisha Johnson, who's charged with possession of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, and tampering with physical evidence.
Come on up here, ma'am.
I would like to stand here.
When called upon, Johnson decides to address the judge, Sean Delahanty, from the back of the court.
No, you stand at this podium.
Awesome. Can you tell me what...
Ma'am, you have to come up here. We can't record
What
your
laws
back.
you guys operate under?
The laws of the state of Kentucky.
Oh, yes. As in, like, amity law, common law, statutory?
Come up here and stand at this podium. I have to get you on the record so that we can see you with your argument.
Okay, well, for on the record, I reserve my right before crossing this bench.
Johnson's refusing to cooperate because she's part of a sovereign citizens movement, which rejects institutions and believe they aren't bound by the country's laws.
Well, Mr. Johnson, I really don't want to create some big scene.
Okay, well,
Hang on for a second. I do not want to lock you up, but I may very well have to. I need for you to come up here and stand at this podium.
Can I just sit there?
No, you cannot. No, you cannot. You have to come up here and stand at this podium.
As the bizarre scene plays out, there's another disruption in the back of the courtroom when a bailiff tells 36-year-old Jenna Vondran to stop filming on her cell phone.
Show me the law. Show me the law.
In Kentucky, judges are given broad discretion on allowing filming in their courtrooms.
This is my property. Show me the law.
All right.
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Chris?
Show me the law.
Go ahead and lock her up. Go ahead and take her into custody.
Watch as the judge looks down and presses his panic button to summon additional deputies to the courtroom.
What are you doing? There's no right. You have no right.
You sit over there. Nothing wrong.
You have no right. No right for that.
Yeah, I'm not finished with her yet. All right.
After a quick reset, the original defendant, Keisha Johnson, finally comes forward to the podium.
You're charged with possession of marijuana, tampering with physical evidence, and possession of drug paraphernalia.
I don't understand any of that.
All right. Well, you're charged with illegally possessing marijuana.
While the judge's attention is back with Johnson, deputies in the hallway are still trying to get control of Vondran, the woman with the cell phone.
I don't understand any of those charges.
Well, there's not a whole lot more. There's not a whole lot more I can do to try to explain to you.
When trying to play clueless doesn't work, Johnson goes back on the offensive.
Let's start here. Can you guys prove jurisdiction? Prove jurisdiction, because I come in under common law. Prove your jurisdiction, that you have jurisdiction over me. Prove jurisdiction. A court cannot proceed until you guys prove jurisdiction. Show me your jurisdiction. Show me your law.
All right. All of our laws are codified in the Kentucky Revised Statute.
Show me jurisdiction. Show me the law.
Hey, here you go.
Okay, that doesn't prove that you have jurisdiction.
Okay, so what else? And now, there's a simple way for me to prove jurisdiction to you. I'm going to ask the deputy to go ahead and take you into custody.
Under what charges?
Under
what charges?
You are disrupting my court.
Stay back. Got your back. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
All right, we're going to pass her case to tomorrow.
You guys have been mistreated, and it's wrong. Under common law, under the United States Constitution. And if they keep doing this, then let us...
Keisha Johnson's arrested and charged with contempt of court. Fast forward to the next day, and she's about to face a new judge.
Keisha Johnson, 56.
This time, Johnson's represented by an attorney.
I don't know how familiar you are with this, but this
I'm
case...
familiar. Podium flipper.
Okay.
I've heard a little bit about it from yesterday. All right, so this is Miss Johnson. We'll note that she's in custody today. She's brought over and present.
And she'd like to make a statement to the court.
I had time to think about it, and I believe and I've learned that I need to represent myself in a respectable manner while in front of the judge.
Okay, so obviously that behavior will not be tolerated. And that's why you ended up where you are.
Keisha Johnson's found guilty of contempt of court and is released from jail after serving 1 day. On her original charges, 2 were dropped, but she's found guilty of possession of marijuana and fined $185. As for Jenna Vondran, who was arrested after filming in the courtroom,
all right, go ahead and lock her up.
She's found guilty of disorderly conduct and serves 1 day in jail. Next, we head to Atlanta, Georgia, for the sentencing of Tex McIver. The 75-year-old attorney was found guilty of felony murder in the death of his wife, Diane McIver. The defendant claimed he accidentally shot McIver while driving back from their horse farm. Diane McIver was the president of an airport service company, and prosecutors believe she was killed for her money. McIver pled not guilty, but after a trial lasting 19 days, he was convicted. Before sentencing, friends of the victim make heartfelt statements to a packed courtroom.
The actions have traumatized me. I lost sleep because I so wanted to believe that it was an accident.
This has been one of the saddest and most horrific incidents that's happened in my life. To have lost my friend of over 40 years that was more like a sister than a friend has broken my heart.
Next, it was McIver's turn to speak, which is what he did for 15 bizarre minutes, touching on just about everything. Everything, that is, except the crime.
Last week, on one given day, I received 11 different pieces of mail. One is a lady from Ireland. Then there is the most unique individual I think I've ever corresponded with. His name is Trent Jones. He's a racehorse jockey in Perth, Australia. His favorite racehorse, Colbert, has been retired just this year, and then now he and Hobart are free to step into the surf in Perth and play.
The surreal statement continues as McIver moves on to his next subject, thanking his friends in the community.
Friends delivering Chick-fil-A, one of my huge favorites, one of the things I miss the most, I guess.
Before he was done, he hit one more subject completely unrelated to the murder, his godson's favorite basketball team.
He's a huge fan of the Golden State Warriors. He said, if anything, I had to say go Warriors before this statement was over with.
Finally, he gets around to discussing the relationship with his late wife of 11 years.
The luckiest day of my life was when Diane chose me. And in doing so, we started a relationship that can only be described as amazing. We loved each other like small children. We just couldn't believe it was that good.
He goes on to explain just how deep their connection was.
In fact, it became, if people are able to believe it, telepathic. And my conscience would hear these words, is this truly real? She had telepathically communicated those words to me. Is this truly real? It is truly real. It is truly real.
Before announcing his sentence, Judge Robert McBurney offers a reaction to McIver's words and peculiar choice of subject matter.
I'll tell you what's most telling. You had as much time as you wanted to share with me what you thought was important for me to hear, and we heard about racehorses in Australia and Chick-fil-A and telepathy. I didn't ever hear you say you're sorry for what you did. To me, that silence speaks volumes.
All that was left was the sentence.
The penalty for felony murder is life. I'm going to sentence you, count 2, to a term of life with the possibility of parole.
McIver was sentenced to life in prison and is eligible for parole after 30 years when he would be 105 years old.